So Sam Crack has his thing with chickens, and I have mine with fish. And while you might think that those fish in the background there are making out, they're actually fighting. This is how the males assert their dominance in the tank and show the other fish who's boss. Basically, they grab onto each other's faces and see which one pulls the other one loose first. It's not pleasant, and while it looks like it probably doesn't even hurt anything, you'll see some of the fish in here actually have nasty little rips taken out of their faces. See, they're very aggressive. These are a very aggressive breed of fish. They'll spin in circles like this. Sometimes the males and females do this as a mating dance, but believe me when I tell you, these two are pissed. They will literally rip chunks out of the sides of each other. These are called yellowtail ACIs. They are cichlids, and they're a very aggressive breed of fish. You can see some of these like him. You see some of them got damage to their scales. I've had people see them before go, "Oh my God, your fish have got ick." No, believe me, I've been raising fish for many years. There's no ick, no diseases in here, just a bunch of fish. Honestly, too many fish for one tank, but I prefer it that way. And sometimes they get into fights with one another. And we're back with another episode of the S600. I want to start this video by saying thank you to all of you that have sent in comments, helping me and supporting me, getting this thing back together. I absolutely love this car, and I know I've said that in probably every video, but there's just nothing I've ever driven quite like this. I don't want to say that it's got a V12 that'll beat the Vet or anything like that. Not even close. It's not that kind of power. Like I said, the Vet is a very animalistic experience. It believe me, it will take you back to the days of being an imbecile. I shouldn't say that. I think you know what I mean. This car takes your most sophisticated gentleman and turns him into, you know, a man in the caveman days with a club. All right, this car is just, it's aggressive, it's ridiculous. This car, it is powerful. Let me tell you, when you stomp the gas on it, it is a very enjoyable experience. But it's not like, it's not that I'm going to rip your head off and do horrible things with it. It's a very refined, smooth, but still exciting power. So I truly am enjoying this experience. I've seen a lot of you comment saying get rid of it. It's a pile of S. It's a heap of crap. It's junk. Mercedes are junk. I think I've told you guys before in several videos, I've mentioned I'm very open-minded when it comes to cars. You know, I'm not your cut and dry Chevy versus Ford or Hondas all the way, or, you know, Racers versus American. That's not me. I am very open-minded when it comes to cars. In fact, I'm open-minded about life in general. I find it's a good way to live. And although this car is old, and although this car has some problems, I thoroughly enjoy it. In fact, I have been daily driving it since I got it. My fiance would tell you, but I'm not going to put her on camera because she'll yell at me. Sure, it has its problems. Of course it does. But it's a very, very enjoyable experience. And, oh God, what have we got back here? This is what the video today is about, is this mess. I need some help from you Mercedes people. And thanks to the help you've already given me, you know, I've gotten this far with it. Now, I don't want to, I'm nervous about leaving this up because this thing will come down and cut my head off. Some of you said this trunk was one of those that had an automatic open thing where it would lift itself open. I don't think so. This is one of the two shocks that holds the trunk open, and there's no wires, there's no hoses. It's literally just a regular looking shock absorber. Same thing on this side, regular looking shock absorber. So I don't think this has the trunk that like uses hydraulic pressure to open itself. Here's what we got. I'm about to sneeze. Damn these allergies. Okay, so I had some questions regarding this pump. down here. It's hard to see, but it's there. It's got a red tube. It's got a blue tube. It's a motor with a hydraulic pump. It's got hydraulic fluid in it. I still don't know exactly what that pump does, but I thought that was the pump that ran the headrest, the locks, the trunk release. And then I had some people come on and say, no, 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 no. There's another pump. It's a vacuum pump. And here is the vacuum pump. Thanks to you guys that helped me, and I really do appreciate it. I was able to locate this pump and get to it. And you know, here's the deal. I don't know if you can hear this. I'm going to get the mic as close as possible. Listen to this click. You're not going to hear it. This trunk is heavy. Anyway, when you push the trunk release to open it, you can hear it click. You can hear an electronic click, but nothing happens. I believe, as many of you suggested, this vacuum pump or whatever it is, air pump, something, I believe this thing has just gone kaput. So I'm pretty sure we're going to need another one. The fuses are all good. I've checked. But I do want to ask if anybody knows off the top of their head what this cable goes to right here. It says amp. They're, for those of you in the computer world, these would be known as RS-232s, I believe. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've seen technology like this. These are basically serial ports that we used to have on computers. Parallel ports, actually, is what they're. These aren't RS-232s, I don't think. These are actually parallel ports. And they look like this. Now, these two were disconnected. Don't know what they go to, but they weren't hooked up. So I hooked them back up. And that leaves us with this one that's not hooked up to anything. Now, I'm willing to bet that all of this probably runs to the Telelink system, I would guess. But I don't know for sure. Does anybody know if this is supposed to plug into anything? Or is this left open as some kind of a diagnostic port? If you could give me any information on this, I'd appreciate it. It is run in parallel with the port that connects right here to these two connectors. So I would assume that this probably doesn't plug into anything. It's probably a diagnostic connector, but I'd really like to know for sure because I really want to get all of this put back together properly. Now, as for this pump, I've looked around online. Like I said, the fuses are good. All over the car I've checked. Most likely this pump is bad, and it looks like it's about $150 to $200 for a used one. Now, as mentioned in a previous video, I'm kind of running on a tight budget here, and you know, I'm going to do the best I can to bring you guys the content as I can, but you know, I'm not made of money, so I do the best I can. As for the ABC system, I wanted to do a quick rundown on that. It is still functioning, although yesterday after driving it a bit, we got the warning back on again. And I checked the fluid, and the fluid was again almost a quart low. So I looked and I made sure nothing was leaking, but as you can see, I want to show you something. The fluid was low. Most likely there was a lot of air in the system, and it just sucked it down. Now, I made the mistake of way overfilling this yesterday, and as you can see, hopefully you can see on video here, it is still overfilled. It's actually above the full mark. So it seems to be bleeding it off somewhere. It's not leaking. I mean, I filled this up yesterday, and I've driven over 100 miles, and it's still above full. So it's not leaking, but I guess I just didn't give it enough time to settle back down for the fluid to come back out before I put more in it. And it looks like we have been leaking it. I'll see if I can get you guys under here. Right there. Right by, looks like close to where the rear catalytic converter is. Or maybe that's air conditioning. Hell, I don't even know. We should back it up and have a look. Let's back it up and see if that's air conditioning or if that is hydraulic fluid that's leaking out of the power steering. Or not power steering, the ABC. All right, we've got a mess here. That's water. That's air conditioning. This does not look No, that is hydraulic fluid. This is a lot of hydraulic fluid right here. Quite a bit. You can see on my hands here, this is a very, very shiny, and this is fresh, very clean hydraulic fluid. All right, so I guess this is going to be a waiting game, and we'll see. See, I've got all my fluids right here for it. I'll need to get this cleaned up. But yeah. Now, like I said, I do want to point out, and I guess I could use some of your expert opinions on here, you Mercedes people. I obviously overfilled it because you can see we've lost. It looks worse than it is. I mean, I know it looks like a big puddle, but it's really not that much fluid. But as you can see here, I mean, we are still overfilled, you know, quite a bit overfilled. Now, I thought maybe it would leak out of the cap or something and spill everywhere, but it didn't. So I don't know where it decided to spit some fluid out from, but obviously it's got a vent or something somewhere in case it gets overfilled. If any of you guys could help me with that, tell me if that's normal when you overfill it. I mean, it's coming from this side, so I don't know. Anyway, that's that. The ABC system, although we do have fluid on the ground, is still full. In fact, it's still over full, and that's after driving it 100 miles yesterday. It still goes up and down like it's supposed to. Putting it in sport mode is a lot of fun. I've done that a couple times. The car is a blast. So while the majority of you seem to agree that it's a fun car and it's a good car, there is a few of you that you just hate it. And I guess that's just the way it is. Agree to disagree. I don't hate the car at all. I think it's an enjoyable car to drive. It's a whole lot of fun. It's definitely a different experience from most other cars you're going to be out driving. It gets looks. It's a great car. And I want to point out also, even when the ABC system was not functioning properly, all right, even when that system was giving me a headache and it didn't work at all, the car still drove perfectly fine. It wasn't a thing of the car fell to the ground and rode like dog crap. Like, the thing actually rode and drove very, very well, even when the system wasn't functioning. So for those of you that thought it was a lemon or thought that it was a money pit, hey, Mercedes are known to be money pits. I'm not going to disagree with you there. But it's just one of those things, I guess you have to experience it to really appreciate it. It's a good car. It's fun. I'm going to continue driving it, continue enjoying it. Some of you are saying I need to just dump it on somebody else before it starts to have problems. And I just want to clarify something. That's not how I do business. All right. I don't dump cars, especially problematic ones, onto unsuspecting customers. That would get me a really bad reputation in a really quick hurry. That's not to say that I've never sold a car that had problems. That's not to say that I'm never going to sell a car with problems. What I'm saying is that I will not knowingly sell a turd to an unsuspecting customer. Full disclosure is the name of the game when it comes to my business. And if you buy something from me, you're going to know everything I know about it, period. And then you can make your own informed decision after that. Now, we may end up selling this. We might. It just depends on how much more money it's going to take to fix it. I'm going to do the best I can to get it in as good a shape as possible, and I think I've already done a hell of a job because it is in way better shape now than it was before. Under the hood, it looks like we're missing. I've seen several of these where there's some kind of a cover that goes from here over. We're missing the snorkel. I would like to get that. I would really like to get that. And then some of the pieces we went over the other day, I would like to get those too, and I have somebody that's been emailing me that might be able to help out with some of that. So if you guys have any more information, you can help me out, especially when it comes to this fluid right here. If you think that's just from being overfilled, which I would bet that it is, please leave me a comment, give me a holler. Anybody interested in contacting me about anything regarding this car, I've had a lot of people asking if I would sell it. If you're interested in buying it, I'm not selling it right now, but chances are at some point I will. Email me at a1title42@gmail.com. That is the number 1, TITLE, the numbers 42@gmail.com. And I'll do my best to get back with you in a timely manner. If you have any assistance that you can offer, anything like that, please hit me up at that email, and I'll definitely get in touch with you and see what we can work out. I'm definitely open to taking any help I can get on this car, because this is certainly out of my comfort zone, and I don't want to say it's out of my league. I've never met a car that was out of my league, but if ever there was one, it would probably be this one. So I'll take all the suggestions and all the help I can get from you guys. I think what we should do now is take you guys on our first drive with it, since we've never gone on a ride along. So let's hop in the car, go for a quick drive, and then we'll call it a day. All right, let's go. This car is such a blast to drive. If you've never driven one, look on, hell, maybe on Toro you could find one. And I would imagine that the bi-turbo that came out a few years after this is probably a hell of a lot more fun than this one. So if you ever have an opportunity to drive one, definitely take it out for a spin. It's an experience you're not going to forget. Let me shut that off. The V12 in this thing has such a refined power band. It's an amazing experience. It is so smooth, but at the same time, it is very powerful. It's also pushing around a car that, if I'm correct, weighs somewhere in the neighborhood of 5,000 pounds. So this is a very big, very heavy car. So it's not going to give you the kind of throw back in your seat experience you might expect from something that's smaller and a little bit lighter, but still very enjoyable experience nonetheless. And before people start asking about what kind of a dash cam I'm using, I've had a lot of questions about that. I want to point out that I do not use a dash cam when I'm doing these videos. I'm using my GoPro Hero 6 with an external microphone. So hopefully that will save some of you from trying to figure out what kind of dash cam I've got, so you can pick one up. Now, if you want to use your GoPro Hero 6 as a dash cam, obviously there's nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not really made for being mounted in a windshield 24/7 with the heat and cold extremes, but you know, it works. It does excellent video quality for what it is, and with an external microphone, the audio is pretty damn good too. So we're on our way to go do some grocery shopping. I need to get some fuel system cleaner to dump in this, and I got to stop at the gas station because we're running low on gas. Hopefully this will be the last of the garbage gas that's in it. We've pretty much got it run out. Driven this thing over 350 miles now, and we are daily driving it. And I'm going to continue daily driving it, because it seems that the more I drive it, the better things become with it. The better it runs, the better it drives. More things seem to just start working and figuring out the quirks on their own. Now, things that are not going to fix themselves are going to be the trunk assist hydraulic pump in the trunk that I believe that's dead. The air pump for the central locking system and the trunk as well, I believe that is dead. So that's not going to fix itself. Those are things we're going to have to jump into. And I was going to do the headlight restore on this, but I think I'm going to wait, because the headlight motor in the left front headlight is bad and it angles straight towards the ground. So chances are that entire assembly needs to be replaced anyway, and I'd hate to go and have the headlight refinished just to have to replace it due to a bad motor and do this again. So we're going to hold off on the headlights for a little while until I figure this out. We got a few little quirks left to take care of, but overall, nothing serious. Like, this car is doing really well considering how cheap it was. And I've had a lot of you point out, you think that I possibly just purchased the... Are you kidding me? Move over, man. He's sitting in the middle of the road. There's an entire turn lane for him. A lot of you have commented you think I may have purchased the cheapest S600 at least in the country. And you might be right. But keep in mind, this is not the sought-after S600 that's the bi-turbo version. It's just your plain run-of-the-mill V12 naturally aspirated. But still, you may be right, and I think we'll try to do a video on that in the future. And I'll look around. Maybe some of you can look around and see if you can find a running and driving V12 S600 cheaper than the $1,680 I paid to purchase it. Remember, that was out the door before any repairs, but anybody that buys one of these, you're going to have to start spending money on it pretty much immediately, I guarantee you that. So yeah, it'll be interesting if perhaps I did purchase the cheapest S600 in the country. That's pretty impressive. So with that being said, we're going to get out of here. I've got some things to do, and I hope you guys stay safe out there. Give this video a big thumbs up if you like the content. If not, give it a thumbs up anyway. Check out the merch store. It's in the description, and I will see you soon in the next one.